And you know the excitement of falling in love? Here's this young gal named Mary, and she's not like most gals. She's not into the latest gossip. She's not one of those materialistic girls. She's a spiritual woman. Just the kind of gal a righteous man like Joseph would want. And, you know, I would imagine that they got engaged, and you know how it works. You start planning things out, imagining what the future might be. And then, his dreams turned into nightmares. She says, I'm pregnant. I don't know. This would be the last thing he'd have expected to hear. And of course, if he's a typical guy, I know I'd want to know, who is it? Okay? And how do you respond when she says, well, it's God? Okay? Not too easy. And let's focus on Mary for just a moment. What a radically special person. To be the one that God chose among all the women on earth. She's the one. And notice what Mary does. When she is met by Gabriel, and Gabriel says, you're going to have a child, it's going to be the Savior of the world. She says, let it be done to me according to thy word. Now think about this. What she's saying is, even though I have my own agenda, and me and Joseph have dreams for our own life, I'm willing to let you interrupt our plans and surrender to your will. Be it done to me according to your word. You know, this is the terminology that began Mary's journey. Thy will, not my will. And isn't it interesting that this terminology that began her spiritual journey was the terminology that ended Jesus' journey when he was in the garden and said, not my will, but thy will. I wonder if he learned that kind of submission from his mother. Herod decides to kill the child. And an angel shows up and tells them, run for your lives. And so they swoop up the child. Off they go. Herod comes in, slaughters all the babies. Be like losing 2007, 2008, and 2009. All that high school wiped out in Bethlehem. And how confusing. The rectifier of all of humanity's sins is on the run from sin's destructive forces. And now Joseph has to live in a foreign land. They don't know anyone. They probably don't speak the language. He has to find a job. He has to find a place to live. Suddenly having God's son is not as easy as one would think. But notice how God provided. They needed those gifts that the three wise men brought. Isn't that like God? You got a problem, but he gives you something that gets you through it. You know, through all this radical chaos in Joseph's life, I wonder if he had some of those same struggles of faith that we sometimes do. Have you ever had this experience where a miracle takes place, a supernatural encounter, an answered prayer that's radically significant to you? And you embrace it, you love it, but as the time goes by, the miracle starts to fade, and you start to wonder, well, did I just spiritualize a situation that was just going to line up that way anyways? Wonder if Joseph went through that same doubt process. You know, did he hear from an angel, or did he just want to believe what his girl told him? Sometimes we start to examine the facts with our practical side. And I can imagine Joseph saying, well, if God planned this for centuries, and my wife was supposed to be the favored one, then why the stable? Why the smell of cattle? If I'm in charge of God's son, I mean, surely the Savior of the world wouldn't be, well, causing me to have a hectic travel schedule, and I wouldn't be giving birth in a barn, I'd be giving birth in a palace. And not only are there hardships, death is chasing after us. Do you have those kind of doubts sometimes? virgin birth. It's not scientifically possible. And here's my point of the morning. Carrying out God's will, it's not going to be easy sometimes. And if you've got some problems in your life, if there's some issues that you're struggling with, I want to argue that God doesn't bypass life's realities. He chooses to operate in our broken, sinful, painful existence. And when you have a situation that's causing you to ask, God, where are you? When you can't make sense out of your hardships, it might be that God is closer than you think. Okay? And I want to say to all of us, if you're trying to live with and for God, you can be certain that the Lord is with you and around you.